The company has suffered a series of misfortunes, many of its own making, and some due to the disastrous effects of the coronavirus pandemic.
Nissan has always been a company that seems to go through these near-death experiences every so often.
If you're in the market for a new car, you might have looked at a Nissan. After all, they're one of the world's leading manufacturers for close to a century. However, you might be in for a bit of a surprise if you head over to Nissan.com. You might encounter something like this. Despite the early 2000s design of the site, this is what you're met with when you visit Nissan.com, an official sounding site for the massive corporation. What you land in is Uzi Nissan's corner of the internet, a shrine to the years of his life spent fighting one of the largest car companies on the planet. So why doesn't Nissan own this domain? And what is this lawsuit they're talking about? Let's dive into it. The origins of this case date all the way back to the 1970s. Back then, Nissan operated in the US under the name Datsun. However, this branding started changing in the 70s when Nissan started a slow campaign to transition the name to what we know it today. Beginning in the late 1970s, Datsun began progressively fitting its cars with small Nissan and Datsun by Nissan badges. The company eventually changed its branding at 1,100 Datsun dealerships. In autumn 1981, Datsun announced that its name would be changed in the United States. Between 1982 and 1986, the company transitioned from its Datsun We Are Driven to its The Name is Nissan campaign. However, during this period, the name Datsun was still more recognizable than Nissan in the US. Around this time is when the core of the current lawsuit starts building. In 1980, Uzi Nissan founded Nissan Foreign Car, an automobile service, in Raleigh, North Carolina. Uzi Nissan was an immigrant from Israel, but a US citizen at that time. From his site, he says, "My name is Uzi Nissan. I was born in Jerusalem, Israel. My father's last name was Nissan, his father's last name was Nissan, and so on." Nissan is a biblical term identifying the 7th month in the Hebrew calendar. The term Nissan also is Arabic for the month of April. He came to the US in 1976 and used his surname to found a number of businesses, starting with Nissan Foreign Car in 1980. Following this, he founded an import-export business known as Nissan International around 1987, and finally on May 14, 1991, Nissan Computer Corp. was incorporated in the state of North Carolina, of which he is the president to this day. On June 4, 1994, he registered the domain name Nissan.com and created a website to promote computer-related products and services on the internet. This was 5 years prior to Nissan Motor Corporation's interest in the domain. In December 1999, legal action was instituted by Nissan Motor seeking $10 million in damages and to restrain him from the use of his family name for business purposes on the internet. Nissan Motors claimed Uzi Nissan was cyber-squatting them by using the name Nissan on the internet for commercial purposes. If you're unfamiliar with the term cyber-squatting, it refers to the unauthorized registration and use of internet domain names that are identical or similar to trademarks, service marks, company names, or personal names. Uzi's first victory was when a court declared since Uzi Nissan had used his name for business for more than a decade by the time he registered Nissan.com, and since he operated the website for his own business, the initial judgment dropped Nissan Motors' unfair competition and cyber-squatting complaints, according to court documents. While the court ruled in favor of Uzi on those complaints, it ruled in favor of Nissan the car company on trademark infringement in April of 2002. The court determined that automotive-related ads featured on Nissan.com infringed on Nissan Motors trademarks in the automotive industry. It took Uzi the rest of the year fighting the trademark dilution complaint, and in December, the court ruled in his favor, but on the condition that he not speak ill of Nissan. No posting anything negative about Nissan North America on the website, no links to other websites featuring negative remarks or commentary. Uzi felt like the court had gone too far, so he appealed this as well as a violation of his First Amendment rights, even enlisting the help of the non-profit consumer advocacy group founded by Ralph Nader, Public Citizen. The case went up to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, which reversed the first court's decision a few months later in August of 2004. The Circuit Court ruled that Uzi did not dilute the automaker's brand and rejected Nissan Motors' request to take control of Uzi's domains. Each time Uzi won part of the case, something else was left open. something that Nissan the car company had the resources to pursue. The case held on for 2 more years in court, with the claims of brand dilution and trademark infringement back on the table. As a result, Nissan Motor had to drop the $10 million in damages. As for brand dilution, the court discovered that Nissan had known about Uzi's website since 1995, but failed to seriously follow up on it until it filed the lawsuit against Uzi. It had taken the automaker 4 years to realize the importance of the internet, something Uzi had grasped from the start. Uzi Nissan devoted 8 years of his life fighting for his right to use his name with pride and not be bullied by a corporation into giving up. He almost lost everything in this battle, but came out victorious. Today, the website still stands, more than just a site for his company, but a reminder of his fight and the victory.